All right, if you're learning German, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say prepositions can feel like this impossible puzzle. But what if I told you we could crack the code? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to turn that frustration into some real confidence. Let's dive in. You know, this comment from the German subreddit, man, it just hits home for so many people. It is the perfect description of that infamous B2 plateau. You know, that stage where you can understand just about everything you hear or read, but the moment you open your mouth to speak, the grammar just, well, it doesn't quite cooperate. Yeah? If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are so not alone. This is honestly one of the biggest hurdles on the road to fluency, and today, we're going to build a ladder to get right over it. So let's talk about this B2 grammar struggle for a second. The first thing you absolutely need to know is that this feeling, it's not just for B2 learners. You'll find C1 speakers, even C2 speakers, and you know what? Even native Germans will admit they mess up the cases sometimes. So let's be super clear. The goal here isn't perfection, not at all. The real goal is to build a solid mental map so that the right choice starts to become automatic. I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. You've already done the hardest part. You've learned thousands of German words. They're all rattling around in your head. Now, we just need to figure out how to wire them all together correctly. So, how do we start building this map for prepositions? Well, the very first step is to tame the chaos. And we do that by getting organized. We can actually sort almost every German preposition into one of 4 tidy categories, all based on the grammatical case they demand. Okay, so this table right here, this is the foundation of our entire map. You've got prepositions that always take the accusative, no matter what, like für. Then you have ones that always take the dative, like mit. And yeah, some that always take the genitive. Just getting these categories memorized is a massive breakthrough. But then you've got that last group, the tricky one, the two-way prepositions. And yup, these are the ones that cause all the headaches, the famous Wechselpräpositionen, or two-way prepositions. They're tricky because they can take either the accusative or the dative case, and it all depends on the context. But here's the good news. There's a simple, golden rule to figure them out every single time. This right here, this is the absolute core concept. If you're describing a static location, meaning no movement, you ask the question wo, where, and you use the dative case. Ich bin im Kino. I'm already there, not going anywhere. But if you're describing active motion towards a destination, you ask wohin, where to, and you use the accusative. Ich gehe ins Kino. I am moving to the cinema. Just remember this. Active motion, accusative. Got it? All right, so now that we've got the logic rules down, let's look at the next piece of the puzzle, what I call fixed pairs. This is where we shift a little bit from logic and into pure memorization. See, a ton of German verbs and adjectives are basically, well, they're permanently married to one specific preposition and one specific case. Here's a total classic. In English, we wait for something. Simple. But in German, you warten auf it. And that combination, warten auf, always triggers the accusative case. Every single time. No exceptions. Here's another one you'll hear all the time. In English, you are interested in something. But in German, it's sich interessieren für. And you probably guessed it, that pair always takes the accusative. Okay, but it's not all accusative, right? Let's check out a dative example. To dream of something is träumen von, and this specific pair will always demand the dative case. Like in the example, von einem besseren Leben. And get this, it's not just verbs. Adjectives have these fixed partners too. To be satisfied with something is zufrieden sein mit, and that is another one of those unbreakable dative pairs. And just one more example to really nail this down, to doubt something is zweifeln an, which, you guessed it, also requires the dative. The main takeaway with all of these is that there's no shortcut, you just have to learn them by heart. So this brings us to what might be the single most crucial point in all of this. You have to stop translating word for word from English. Don't just learn that warten means to wait. Instead, learn that warten auf is the German verb chunk that means to wait for. You've got to treat them like a single unit of vocabulary. Okay, so we have our map and we understand these fixed pairs, but how do we make all this knowledge instinctual? So we're not pausing and thinking about grammar rules in the middle of a sentence. Let's talk about how to build that instinct. The path from consciously knowing a rule to unconsciously using it really has 4 steps. First, learn in context, not just from dry grammar lists. Second, you have to actively practice. Make your own sentences. Third, immerse yourself. Read real German books, real articles. And finally, and maybe most importantly, just listen. Tune your ear to native speakers in movies, in shows, in conversation. After a while, the wrong preposition won't just be wrong, it will actually start to sound wrong to you. And finally, let me just give you a little bit of reassurance. As we've heard from learners and natives alike, perfection is not the goal here. Even native speakers mix up cases all the time in casual speech, especially dative and genitive. Honestly, what really matters for being understood is your vocabulary and your word order. So please, whatever you do, do not let the fear of a tiny grammar mistake stop you from speaking. The more you speak, the faster this all gets better. And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? This quote right here just captures the true spirit of learning a language. It's not about passing a grammar test. It's about connecting with other people. Will you still make mistakes with prepositions? Of course you will. We all do. But will people understand you? Absolutely. And that is the real victory.